What's going on, everybody? It is Chris Akin back once again with another edition of Chris Akin Presents. Before I get started, make sure you do the podcasty stuff, please. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these. Leave us a comment or a like, a thumbs up, or even a thumbs down if you hate what we're doing. It's all good. I just want to know that you're there, okay? All right, so let's get into it here. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different than I normally do here on Chris Akin Presents. I am going to go old school. I'm not presenting anything new today. I'm presenting very, very old. I'm really, I'm being the old guy in the room, so to speak. So we'll see how this goes. But one of my favorite TV shows of all time, All in the Family. And I think a lot of people agree with that. There's a lot of people that will want to bring in today's societal bullshit into it and say, oh, it's racist, it's bigoted, it's blah, blah, blah. Fine, whatever. If that's you, then leave a dislike and move on right now, because I'm going to talk about this in a very positive way. Because to me, All in the Family was, is, and always will be hilariously funny. Don't care what society today thinks. It was funny for the time. It's still funny now. And if you don't think it's funny, then you take yourself way too fucking seriously. And all that being said, I love All in the Family. Tons of people loved All in the Family. All in the Family had an amazing run by itself with 205 episodes, as well as two others that didn't air, two like pilots, I guess. And like I said, it had a great run. But what is probably not recognized about All in the Family is the number of spin-offs that came off of All in the Family, and successful spin-offs. Some were successful, some weren't. I don't know if people realize it, but All in the Family had a whopping 7 spin-off shows from it. And we'll get into what each one is, and maybe you didn't even know these were spin-offs of All in the Family, but they were. So let's check into a couple of these, or we'll review all 7. The first one was Maude. You know, it starred B. Arthur, and it was it ran for, I don't know, 8-9 years, whatever it was. It had 141 episodes of Maude. And if you were an All in the Family fan, you certainly remember that Maude was introduced as Edith's super liberal cousin that came to stay with them from time to time, and she was pretty hated by Archie. And rightly so. When they brought out the show Maude, she was a pretty hateable character on that show either. She was this uber liberal, Nazified women's liber type that was married to a pretty heavy drinking, you know, somewhat alcoholic dude. And she had been through 4 marriages, and, you know, it was its own thing. So Maude was the first one from All in the Family, but certainly not the last. You know, interestingly on Maude, you got 2 things. You got the first time that B. Arthur worked with Rue McClanahan, Rue McClanahan, of course, they teamed together in The Golden Girls, but she was the girlfriend of the neighbor and a pretty prominent character on Maude, at least in the first few seasons of it. So that, almost a spinoff of a spinoff kind of sort of thing. But the other, an actual spinoff of the spinoff, would be Good Times. Now, everybody remembers Good Times, JJ Dynamite, and all that stuff. Well, in Maude, Esther Roll, Florida Evans, was Maude's maid. And she's in it for several seasons as Maude's maid. And then they spun that out to become Good Times, where I guess she quit being the maid and, you know, went and lived in the apartments there, and you know, in Chicago. I guess they moved to Chicago somehow, and that's how Good Times became a thing. But Good Times was based off of Esther Roll's character Florida Evans from Maude, and I wasn't aware of that until recently. So you had that. So that would be the second spinoff, a spinoff of a spinoff. Now, the third spinoff of All in the Family is probably the most known. It's the most successful. It's even more successful than All in the Family. Of course, that's the Jeffersons. And the Jeffersons was spawned from George Jefferson and Louise Jefferson, who were Archie's neighbors, and then they moved and became the Jeffersons. They were moving on up to a deluxe apartment in the sky, as they say. And now the interesting thing about the Jeffersons was that the way the folklore reads, if you go out and research it, Norman Lear was approached by Black Panther Party, members of the Black Panther Party, and they didn't like the portrayal of black people, black America, in good times. They didn't want to show black people, they didn't want black people to be shown in a negative, poor, broke, wearing shitty clothes, being, ghetto life. So that was the impetus to form the Jeffersons, a wealthy black family. So that's how the Jeffersons came to be. So the Jeffersons would be the third spinoff of All in the Family. Fourth one was Archie Bunker's Place. Now, Archie Bunker's Place came about, did a few seasons. It wasn't as successful, but Archie Bunker's Place was kind of the after effect of All in the Family when Gloria and Mike moved. And it basically focused on Archie and his barmate. And every once in a while, Gene Stapleton, who played Edith, showed up in it. And I believe Gloria showed up in it once or twice. But the show did not do extremely well. And it only lasted a couple, I think 3 seasons. And it went away. Now, going back to the Jeffersons for number 5, the Jeffersons had a maid named Florence, played by Marla Gibbs, and there was a very short-lived spinoff of that called Checkin' In, and it only lasted 4 episodes, and it was dumped immediately because it just was bad. But she ended up quitting her job with the Jeffersons to go work somewhere else. And she didn't do well, and then she went back to the Jeffersons, is the way that it played. Now the other kind of star in that show was actually Larry Linville, who played Frank Burns on MASH, and he was on this show for the 4 shows. But like I said, it flopped. It's the only real flop in this whole bunch. But it flopped, and then she went back to the Jeffersons. So that's how that played out. So that would be the 5th one. The 6th one, and I'll be honest, I was not aware of this until literally yesterday. And then I just started watching it on Plex, and I was like, wow, had no idea this was going on. For 2 seasons, there was a show called Gloria. And that was the life of Gloria Stivic, or Sally Struthers, after she got divorced, or was in the process, rather, of getting divorced from Mike. Now, I never knew this even happened. I really had no idea. But apparently, Mike ran off to join a commune with a girlfriend and kind of abandoned Gloria and Joey. So they went out to some farm somewhere and became veterinary assistants. And they tried to play this up as it was based on Gloria's big love of animals, which, I don't know, I think I've watched all of the All in the Family episodes, and not once did I ever hear her talking about her love of animals. But apparently she did for the show, and she did this show simply called Gloria. It's her and her son Joey. It's Burgess Meredith, from Rocky fame. He's in it too. And the show sucked. I ain't gonna lie. I watched about 10 episodes of it, and the show really did suck. It was one of those things where somebody saw the opportunity to make some money and they tried it, and it sucked so bad that they just were constantly invoking All in the Family character names without bringing anybody in. It's like, oh, let's call Grandpa Archie. Oh, look who's on the phone. It's Mike, your dad, Joey. It was that kind of a show and that kind of a desperate reach to make that work. But that was the number 6 spinoff. And the last spinoff, which again, very short-lived, it only lasted 6 episodes. And I don't know. Obviously, I'm Monday morning quarterbacking this thing here because, you know, with a lot of time in between. But the last one was called 704 Hauser, which was a reference to Archie's street address. And basically, what the concept was they took a African-American family and moved them into what was formerly Archie's house. So technically a spinoff, although none of the characters were in it. I don't know. It just, I've only seen one episode of it, and that was enough for me to know this was really desperate. This was grasping at straws. It came out in like 94. So it was like, somebody had an idea in a boardroom somewhere. It's like, there's got to be a way we could tie in the success of All in the Family and make this show work. But yeah, it didn't work at all. It only lasted 6 episodes and it was gone. But 704 Hauser would be the number 7 spinoff. So that's an amazing amount of spinoffs from one show. And I guess that really sells just how popular All in the Family really was, that they kept seeing it as a cash cow and kept trying to do it. The only other show I could think of that even comes close to that, and I'm sure people, and if you want to leave it in the comments, let me know if there's ones that had more. The only other thing I could think of would be like Three's Company. Three's Company had several spin-off shows. It had Three's a Crowd, it had The Ropers, and I believe it had one more, and I can't for the life of me think of what it is, so maybe it didn't. But it had a few spin-offs that came off of that, but nothing like 7. So there you have it. If you are an All in the Family person, you can check out All in the Family. It's out there on Amazon Prime. I believe all the episodes are out there. Like I said, Gloria is on Plex TV, which is free. So you can just install Plex and you don't have to set up a server to watch it or anything. You can just install Plex and it has channels and it has video on demand and you can watch the Gloria one. And I haven't checked into all these other ones, but I know Jeffersons are out there, I believe, on Freevee or on Amazon Prime. Good Times is definitely on, it's on one of them, and I know it's on Starz Network. So a lot of these shows are out there if you want to live old school for a little while. So, yeah, so All in the Family, lots of spinoffs, lots of content related to Archie Bunker and the family. All right, and that is going to do it for this edition of Chris Akin Presents. Like I said, do all the podcasty stuff, please, to make sure that I know you're there. And until next time, this has been Chris Akin Presents. I have been Chris Akin, and guess what, folks? I will be again tomorrow. See ya!
John Drake from Talking Into Infinity, a Dream Theater podcast here. Are you into stuff other than hard rock or heavy metal? Specifically, are you into, say, Star Wars? Well, if you are, I have a kick-ass Star Wars show that you've got to go check out. It's mine. It's called The Nerf Herder Council, and we go live every other Wednesday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. It's definitely not your typical Star Wars show. We don't take ourselves too seriously, and we don't take Star Wars itself too seriously. The conversation is basically what you'd hear if you went to a bar and ran into 3 dummies just sitting at the bar getting drunk and talking about Star Wars. So if you are into Star Wars, go check out the Nerf Herder Council. You can find us at nerfherdercouncil.com. And again, we do go live every other Wednesday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and our YouTube channel. So check out the show, and may the Force be with you.
Heavy Metal Television, the world's first 24-hour internet TV station, forever free.